Namaste yogis. Today I'm going to show you creative uses of household items as yoga props. We'll begin with the yoga mat. If you don't have a yoga mat, perhaps you have yoga socks and grip gloves that you can use. So that way you have grip on the floor instead of what you would normally use on your sticky mat. Another option could be if you have a rug that's slip resistant. That could be a possibility. Or a beach towel. I do caution if you're going to use a beach towel that it can be a little bit more slippery. So just be careful if you choose a beach towel. You could simply use the floor, carpeted floor, tile floor. Yoga mat is simply just an option. Next we'll move on to bolster. Maybe you don't have a bolster at home, but maybe you have body pillows. You can stack the body pillows. It's not going to be as sturdy as a bolster, but it's simply options you can do. If you have a weighted blanket, you can roll the weighted blanket and you can use that as your yoga bolster. I do recommend this as it's probably going to be pretty much the sturdiest you can get to a yoga bolster. Another option would be if you have the typical yoga blankets that we use at the studio, to stack these blankets at a height that it's good for you to use as an option instead of a bolster. Next we'll move on to yoga blocks. Maybe you don't have any yoga blocks at home, but you would like to do some yoga poses that you enjoy to have yoga blocks. If you have canned goods, typically a larger canned good, you can place a washcloth over that and you can use that as your yoga blocks. Another option for yoga blocks is stacked books. Keep in mind that if you use stacked books, you may want to tie them with a string so that way they don't get loose. Depending on what you're using the yoga blocks for, maybe you're using them in more restorative poses. If you're going to do butterfly in a restorative, maybe you simply use pillows underneath your knees while you're in the restorative butterfly. Another option is maybe have some memory foam pillows. That could feel super yummy underneath your knees also. So options just depending on what you're using the props for. Next we'll move on to a strap. You know how I love to use a strap in practice, but maybe you don't have a strap at home. Maybe you have some resistance bands that you can use instead of a strap. If you have a scarf, you can use that instead of a strap. Or even a towel. You can take your towel and roll the towel to be able to use that as a strap. So for instance, if you're using a strap for your arms, maybe you have a bandana that you can use. So that you can have that as an option. Or maybe even a kitchen towel that could serve the same sort of purpose. We'll move on to weighted eye blankets. If you love weighted eye blankets during restorative poses, but you don't have one at home, you can make a homemade one. For instance, if you have popcorn or rice, you can place that into a Ziploc bag, and then you can take a washcloth and you can wrap that Ziploc bag with a washcloth to create a weighted eye blanket. I also enjoy to use a wedge in my practice to help me with my wrists. I haven't figured out an alternative for this one yet. If you have any ideas, just reach out to me and let me know. One other idea when you're moving into your Shavasana, you could use a neck travel pillow to use underneath your neck during your Shavasana. It's just a juicy, sort of relaxing part of your practice. So those are some options of household items that you can use as yoga props. I hope you found this interesting. Have a wonderful and beautiful day. Namaste.